Okay, welcome. It is our Thursday evening live session on Facebook. We started last week on Friday. We covered the introduction to OSHA. Tuesday, we went into the fall protection. And then today, we're going to go into electrical, which is always a number one, again, underestimated and underrated thing. Before we get started, we just wanted to just thank everybody for just, the little time that we spend on this together. I try to keep it short, try to keep it brief, try to get to the point, get on and get off. So I just wanted to say thank you for all of that. Last week, or earlier in the week, we took a look at the website. I want to go back over that again today. So you see behind us, it is the free OSHA training for you website. It's already up. It's already ready to go. Just go to it and click on 10-hour free or 30-hour free OSHA training website. It's there for you. And we just wanted to make sure that we renovate that today. Also, our free OSHA training for you, Let's Talk Safety, is our YouTube channel. And we're getting a lot of likes on Facebook, but when it comes to our YouTube channel, because we stream live on Facebook and people just get off of Facebook and don't go over to the YouTube channel and subscribe. So we asking today that we place a little emphasis on that the people that's working in this field or obtaining some type of information for this training, that you stop over at the Free OSHA Training for You YouTube page and just go ahead and hit subscribe there. There is a multitude of things that's going on, but the number one thing that I wanted to share about today before we get started is we aired on Tuesday. So Tuesday night, back on that Free OSHA Training for You here, back on that Free OSHA Training for You site, there is a donation button. Now, I'm not asking people for money or anything like that. We just put the donation button up there in regards to the site maintenance, people obtaining any type of training or anything from the site, or any type of information from the site, that it would be a good place for them to go and make a quick donation. But I'm not asking people for donations. That's not what we are here for. But someone donated on Tuesday night, and they put inside the notes that we want that donation to be applied to one person on a 10-hour OSHA training for the next month. So for the whole month of May, it's already paid for. So for the whole month of May, one person will be able to take a 10-hour OSHA training over at the other site and be able to obtain their OSHA card for free, thanks to that person that did the donation. And I'm bringing it up because when you're doing things in the right fashion for the right reasons, we're not here asking for money. We're not here looking to get over anything like that. We just simply want to provide training to people and help people obtain jobs. When people see you stepping up and doing things for the right reason, then they feel obligated, or they feel that they want to be able to participate in that. And so it's on the opposite side of just launching. We're not a week, 2 weeks in of launching, and we're on that opposite side of that. But people already want to participate in that service. So I just wanted to thank that person that made that donation for the people. So for the month of May, the first week of May, we'll start collecting names and numbers. Collecting names from people by way of email. On Tuesday, we'll collect that name And then on Thursday, we'll make an announcement for that name, and that person will be able to go ahead and obtain that 10-hour OSHA card for free. Let me take you to the site where we actually do the training itself, where you're able to obtain so it is our main site, the training zone dmv.info is where we actually, this is our main site that we do everything at. And we want to take you over there to that main site, and so that people be able to see exactly what we're talking about. It's a little bit slow, but it's gearing up, and we'll be able to go over there in a second. But we want to be able, one person again, every week, one person. On Tuesday, we announce it. We'll do the emails at the end of the week, end of the session on Tuesday. Everybody will be able to send their name and contact information in by way of email to us. And then on Thursday, on Thursday, we will announce that person who has been selected for that training. We'll put them all in the cup, and we'll just pull one of them out there, and we make an announcement about that for the person that have been approved for that training. So one person a week for the whole month of May will be able to take a 10-hour OSHA training at no cost or obligation. Thanks for the donation to the people out there that helped us out. So we are here at the Training Zone DMV site, and if you just click on Get OSHA Card, just click on Get OSHA Card, and that will take you to the part or to the page. Should be coming up here. We're moving a little slow, but click on Get OSHA Card, and then that page will come up. Let's give it a second. The page should be coming up sometime soon here, and you'll be able to take the information that's given there. We go get your OSHA card, so that page will come up, and you'll be able to go ahead to that page and then select the membership, which is the 10-hour OSHA training, and you just hit select on that membership, and you'll be able to obtain your OSHA card that way. So again, it's just something nice that we're doing. We wanted to be out there. We wanted to put the information out there, share it with people in regards to working in this field of construction. I know it's a very wide field. Some people appreciate the information. Some people will chime in and look at it. And what are these people talking about? Because they're not familiar with the safety within itself. Okay, so that is that. The guys, we wanted to apologize about our contact information. I have this office in Maryland and the office over in DC, and so I'm running back and forth, and I'm not pretty much aware of what's going on in both locations. But the people at the office in Maryland took the 240 number 898 4050 and had it ported over to a different system. So they was using one system, and they found a cheaper system, and they had that number ported over to a different system. So I did not know that the phone was just ringing busy when people were calling in, and I did not know that that number was not available. As of this morning, I checked into that number. That number is now ringing. The port is finished, so the number is now ringing here. So anytime that you need to make a phone call to us, it's going to be 240-898-4050. As a secondary number, we wanted to get that out there just in case that number is busy. Our 202-480-2195 is our secondary number. You guys will be able just to give us a call on that secondary number and to ask any questions or concerns that you may have. All right, so let's move on over to electrical. We want to talk about that today. And electricity, the hazards that's associated with electricity in the field of construction. You know, electrical really is one of the most dangerous thing. It's really no way to be treated. OSHA only came up with two ways to protect the worker from electricity. One is the ground fault, the GFCI, ground fault circuit interrupter. The other one is the assured equipment grounding program. And we want to take a look at those two today. But the GFCI, which is your ground fault circuit interrupter, is the most sufficient way of doing it. And so, as you might know, it is about 5% or 5 workers every week that's electrocuted. That's 1 worker per day that is electrocuted. Again, I give you the number of 2 people per hour dies in the field of construction. The number again would be 1 worker per day will be getting electrocuted. Does that make sense? So we have to understand how the hazard is extremely real, and it is also live and well. And the only way to protect ourselves is to learn the information and make sure that we know what we're doing so that we can keep ourselves safe in the field. So about 12% of them are young, which is, no time in the field, and it takes very little electricity to cause harms, and sometimes significant risk of causing fires. Basically, they say, how's electricity working? Well, it's going from one place to another place. It requires a source, something to energize it, a flow, something that is going to move through, and it's always traveling inside of a closed circuit. The electrical terms here: current is the electrical movement and is measured by the word amps. I want to put my kickstand down. I want to talk a tad bit about amps, because the amps is really where your hazard exists. You have a basic plug, you have a basic light switch, you have a basic microwave, you have a basic washer, you have a basic whatever it is. It's just basic, and it flows. The current flows through that basic path. But what really is the issue, and we have to put a few minutes into this, is the amperage that's running through that basic that causes a problem. So let's talk a little bit about this so that we can break it down and everybody can understand exactly what I'm talking about. In the basement of the house, you have that old heater that you plug in, that plugs into the wall. So if you take that heater that plugs into the wall and put it on that dollar extension cord that you buy out the dollar store for the lamp, when you plug that heater in and turn it on, the cord all of a sudden of that dollar extension cord begins to heat up and melt. And why is that? Well, it's the amperage that that heater is pulling. When you look at a microwave or a washing machine or something like that, it's a separate line actually from the breaker box to that within itself. A regular line has 6 or 7 or 8 items, but when you just running a microwave or a washing machine, there is a separate line wire just for that. And why is that? It is the amperage that's being pulled through that line that really makes a difference. So if everybody following me, you cannot take a dollar extension cord and plug that basic heater down in the basement and turn it on and expect for it to handle that amperage just running through that. It heats up and it melts, it trips, causes a fire. So much happens with that. So we want to make sure that everybody clear. It isn't the amount of electricity that we're using. It is the amperage that's being pulled through there. That's why when we talk about electrical and the cords in the construction industry, I myself cut them up. When I see anything that's outside of the manufacturer's instructions, anything that's outside of the manufacturer instructions. So the manufacturer, I go buy a cord from out of the Home Depot, and as long as the cord is used in its original tint, then it is within the manufacturer instructions. The minute that that cord get cut, or electrical wire is shown, or is any type of damage to that cord, then the manufacturer warranty is now gone out of the window, and the person who's now using that cord becomes responsible. I'm going to say this again. Anytime that the cord, the electrical cord that you're using is damaged in any way, it comes from outside of your manufacturer warranty. So I can get it again at the Home Depot. As long as I use it in that fashion, I can plug it in. I can run whatever I want to run. The ground prong, everything is safe. As long as it's inside of the manufacturer warranty, then everything is good about the cord. The minute any damage gets there, any wires get exposed, or any cut to that cord, it is now violating your manufacturer warranty. And most people use hands and power tools and different tools, and they want to take the guards off of them, and they want to do different things. But when you do that, you take and violate that manufacturer's warranty. And if something actually happens, some type of accident actually happened, or somebody gets shot, they're going to come and look at what is going on and understand that the cord was purchased at the Home Depot. It went from the Home Depot to the office, and it went from the office to, say, Greg's truck, and from Greg's truck to Greg's team. Greg's team had the cord. He realized that the cord had damage on it, and he used the cord anyway. So we're going to stop the investigation right there, that Greg is the one that realized that the cord had damage on it and used the cord anyway. And that's where the investigation stopped, and that's where we're going to begin to pick up as to saying, well, this is the reason that that happens, and Greg is wrong for that, and so on and so forth. So if you're working in this construction field and you want to keep yourself safe, one, but also want to keep your fact that you are a asset to the company instead of a liability, then you need to know that any time that any changes take place in that cord, that you are now liable for that. So while we're here and we're talking about cords, we want to take a look at a basic end line of a cord. This is the end of a cord. Now, the cord only protects you through the ground prong. I'll say this again, guys, so that you get it. The cord only protects you through the ground prong. The grounding is your only means of protection for the cord. So if you take the ground off of it, you're not protected. So the grounding is the only means of your protection for the cord. So the proper way of using the cord is to take this cord, to make sure that the grounding is there, plug it into a GFCI, which is your ground fault circuit interrupter. It trips in 1/40th of a second. So the minute that it detects any change in the current, it absolutely trips in that 1/40th of a second and shut that current down. So most people don't know, they just miseducated on that. So you want to make sure that you always have your ground prong here, and it's going into your GFCI before you send it out into the field. Okay, so there's 4 main injuries here. Injuries happen in 4 main ones. One is direct. You got electrocution due to death or shock. electrical shock, you got burns, and then you got indirect falls. Anytime that you're dealing with electrical, it can happen one of the four ways. The electrical shock is received when electric passes through the body. Talking about it going through the body. You can get electrical shock if a part of your body touched the wire, a live wire, or electrical part that's not grounded, or touch a live wire or another wire that has a different voltage. So it talks about electrical shock. Guys, the electricity is not like a gun. So if you take a gun and shoot towards your hand, the bullet comes through your hand and goes out the other side. That's not the activity for electricity. So if you don't have the ground prong in, and the electric do hit you, then it doesn't go through your hand and come out on the other side. So it goes through and it runs through your whole body, and it goes down to the ground, because what? Grounding is your only way of protecting yourself from electricity. I say it again. If you get electrical shock, it's not going to hit you and come out on the other side of your hand. It will hit you and run down through your whole body, because it's looking for what? Ground. And grounding, which is the ground pin here, grounding is your only means of protection. Guys, I hope I'm helping you with this today, because a lot of times we just take the plug, take the cord off of the truck, throw it in the bucket, put it up there where we need to be, and we don't pay attention to that, and we working and we think that we operating safe, and really we're not. And amazingly enough, as we go on, you'll see that those hands and power tools that you use have a lot of electrical that's floating through that, and it would be best that you grounded on that. So it says shocks. The shocks depends on the path of current flowing through your body. The amount of current flowing through the body, again, is measured by that word amps, and the duration of the shock and the current flowing through your body. Low voltage does not mean any low hazards. So here we go. We want to talk about this one here. I think this is the most important one of the whole PowerPoint. Understanding that current at 10 milliamps can paralyze and freeze the muscle. So 10 milliamps really isn't much. But if it hits you and you're holding on to something, it can paralyze or freeze that muscle, causing it to open up and let go. And that could cause an indirect fall. Current more than 75 milliamps. So 75 milliamps really isn't that much, but it can cause your heart to skip a beat. I mean, some of us is young or don't have no issues in our hearts or pacemakers and things like that. You could probably take a little 75 millimeter current hit and just shake it off and keep on moving. But some of us have pacemakers or different conditions that's going on with our body, our ear, or something like that. So you have different issues that's going on. And that 75 milliamps that cause the heart to skip a beat is enough to put you in a situation where, death could occur within minutes, not unless they have a defibrillator around for you. And believe it or not, most construction sites, I'm just going to jump out of there and say almost all of the construction sites do not have defibrillators on them. I would say that most DC public schools or some of the public schools might have defibrillators, but when we're talking about a construction site, which is a temporary location, they do not have the defibrillators on site. So let me just read that again so that we can understand it. Current moving more than 75 milliamps can cause your heart to skip a beat. Death will occur in minutes unless a defibrillator is used. So 75 milliamps isn't that much amperage running through. But that hand and power tool, that small drill, or those tools that you use, carry 30 times, I'll say that again, those hands and power tools, skill saws, and All the hands and tools that you use carry 30 times that amount of electricity through there. So guys, you know, when we're talking about electrical, we want to, one, make sure that we always operating inside of the manufacturer instructions. So we always want to use the ground pin to protect ourselves from electrical shock. Now, electrical shocking within itself can cause not only these hazards there, but if it blow through your hand, now you got skin conditioning and therapy and so many different things that you know, it just really messes you up. It really messes you up because of all of the hazards that's associated with it. And you can't come back to work till the doctor says so. You can't come back to work till after you finish physical therapy. And all that time off the job on your workman's comp insurance is not going to cover the cost of bills that we have. So if you're making $10 an hour, for instance, or $12 an hour, and you get into an accident and you covered through workman's comp, then they're only going to pay you 50% of what you make. So if you're making $10, then they're going to pay you $5 for the period of time that you're at home. And that really doesn't make sense. When you could spend $15, $20 at the Home Depot, go get your own GFCI circuit interrupter. You plug your cord with your ground pin in it. Number one is the GFCI, your ground fault circuit interrupter. Number two is to plug the cord with the ground pin in it. And from that point, electrical safety has taken place for that whole day. So you can be kind to others and actually allow them to plug into your system instead of just using it yourself. But the number one thing is that 20 buck GFI out of your pocket. You spend that, you put that in your lunch pail or put that on your tool belt while you're working out there. That protects you from any type of electricity shocks or anything like that, and that'll keep you on the job one more day. Understand that this safety is for you. Your agreement again is with the employer that if you come in, we starting at 6, we need you at 6. If we ending at 2:30, you're free to go at 2:30. We will pay you on Friday because that's the day that the checks are being cut, and that's pretty much your agreement with the employer. When it comes to you being safe, nobody tell you this information. Uh, Nobody tells you how to stay safe. So you have to identify different avenues, which we're using today. But not only identify, but go and take advantage of it. You know, a $20 GFI can protect you and everybody on the site. Now, most generators here lately have them already built in, but you could be in a place where there isn't one, and you could have it yourself for a cheap $20. And that will keep you coming back to work, going home, back to work, going home, and back to work. So these are little small tools and techniques, information that we're giving out, nuggets that we're giving out today when it comes to electrical safety to keep you safe on the job so that you can keep coming back and forth to work. All right. So as you can see here, you take a look at that hand. Most accidents occur when electrical wire or equipment touch improperly used. Typically occurs on the hand. This is very serious injuries and it needs immediate attention. So this is the hand that we talked about. You at home now. You can't come back to work till the doctor says so. And everything is just messed up because you didn't take the time out to spend the little money that you need to spend to protect yourself. All right, so falls. When falls occur, electrical shock falls can occur by indirect injury. We talked about that. You could be working on a ladder, holding on to something. Electrical shock hits you, your hand releases, and the fall takes place. Workers working in elevation or location who experience electrical shock may result in serious and lost time injuries. Electrical shocks and how to control them. You see the pictures here. you're more familiar with that. You see that a lot. People doing unsafe equipment on installation, workplace made unsafe by the environment, and you just in the unsafe work practices altogether. And it's just absolutely crazy. You see it here, people just having tape is very unsafe, very prevalent in the field. Same thing here, very unsafe, very prevalent in the field. Same thing here, you got 4 or 5 wires, you got a piece of tape hanging up there. This is the mindset of the construction in the field. You have to be able to protect yourself against this type of activity. It's the same thing here. So we're talking about hazards. Usually are not installated. Examples of stuff that can contact them are cranes, ladders, scaffolds, backhoes, scissor lift, raised dump trucks, planks, and rollers. Controls. Stay away from anything that's energized. You can hear the electricity on the power line humming, so you stay at least 10 feet away from it. The further away from it you are, the better off you are. Post the warning signs. Make sure that everybody is aware of what's going on around you. You can never be too conscious towards yourself and others. Also use assume that the ladders are always energized. Use wood or fiberglass ladders, not metal ladders. And power line workers need special training in that area. Okay? So wire hazardous wires or inadequate wires. We talked about this. If the wire again is too small for the current that's being pulled through, like the tool draws more current than the cord can actually handle. It causes the cord to overtrip, the heat up, possible fire. The circuit breaker could be right size for the circuit, but not for the extension cord. So again, you want to take a look at what they're talking about here. Most type of cords in the construction field must be designed for hard and extra hard use. Let me get that out of the way, and it should be type SO. So it should be type SO, and it's designed for hard or extra hard use. You see here, that is exposed wire out of manufacturing structures. You got a piece of tape on that. That's out of the manufacturing instructions. And any time that is out of the manufacturing instructions, you're going to be responsible for that. Same thing here. Going through the doors, windows, aging, stapling, all that type of activity. Quick way, just going to post it up, put the staple in it. All that type of activity, again, damages the cords and it puts it out of the manufacturer's instruction. So you got different ways of it, installations. You want to check your cord before you use it every time to make sure that it's the 3-wire type that is designed for hard or extra hard use. Only use cords that's connected to devices and equipment with stress relief. Never remove the cord by just yanking it. And cords not marked for hard and extra hard use or have been modified, that means with any changes on it, any signs of damage, it's considered to be modified. You must take that out of service immediately. You got flex cords, you know, the washer, the dryer, those type of cords. Use those in the original conditions. You can't take the flex cord and throw it through the window and plug it up on the other side. It has to be used in its original condition and intent. So grounding here, it creates a lowest resistance path from the tool to the earth that's unwanted. What a short or lightning occurs, energy flows to the ground, protecting you from electrical shocks and deaths. I want to talk about, put my foot down again, and I want to talk about this for a second. The one thing or the only thing that protects you from electrical shocks and deaths is your grounding. Got to keep pointing back to this because most people tear it out not knowing that it is your only thing that protects you from electrical shock is grounding. If it's grounded, it protects you from the electrical shock. If it's used in the GFI, then it shuts off the circuit. Say this again. If it's grounded, it protects you from the electrical shock. If you have it grounded in the GFI, it shuts off the circuit 1/40th of a second. So the minute that it detects something, boom, it shuts it off. That's the GFI's position. That's the GFI's job altogether. Detect it, shut it off. The ground prong is the only way to protect yourself is so that the GFI will work. If you don't have the grounding in and you plug it to the GFI, then there is no detection and it don't do its job. Say this again, I'm hoping everybody getting this. If you're using the GFI, the ground prong must be in the GFI in order for the GFI to do its job. Now the job of the GFI itself is to detect any type of electrical movement, right? Any type of electrical movement that changes, it automatically shuts that down. It cannot do its job if the ground prong, real quick here, the ground prong is not present for it to detect anything going on. So two main pieces of information is that the GFI must plug into the wall and you have to have the grounding of this cord associated with that GFI in order to provide protection in the field. Don't depend on the company for the GFI. You buy the GFI yourself, put it in your toolbox, you have it for yourself. You know that you're safe anytime that you're working with electricity. These are little small nuggets that you absolutely, 10, 20 bucks, you absolutely have to stop and have these things that are in order to protect you from being electrocuted. So, you see, exposed wires here or the ground prop is taken off, it is not working, and that is your responsibility. So any type of hand and power tools the manufacturer make, they already have their grounding stuff already associated with it. So you just want to plug that hand and power tool into the cord, but the cord itself have to be grounded for it to work. All right. So here is the ground fault circuit interrupter here. Absolutely clear picture. Everybody see them in your bathroom at the house. You can see them on the construction site. The one there. You want to make sure that you guys are using that. You plug a ground pin into that. The ground pin into that. That job of the ground fault circuit interrupter is to shut off any electricity current that's not running regular. It only can do that if the ground prong is inside of that. So you want to make sure that you're aware of how the system absolutely works. Your only control for electricity, again, is your ground fault circuit interrupter. The other one is the short equipment grounding program. That program is designed when somebody from your management team designates you, hey, Earl, I need for you to go by and check every single cord that's out on the site. Make sure that everything is good with them. And so that opportunity right there really doesn't resonate well with me. Actually depending on somebody else to make sure that I'm safe when I could just spend a few bucks at the Home Depot and get the GFI myself and know that I'm safe within the 1/40th of a second. We talk about circuits overloading. You're having too many things plugged in there, cause it to overload. An overload will cause a breaker to trip or a circuit to melt, damage to a cord, anything like that. So electrical controls, automatic opens and close if the circuit is too much, if an overload takes place. You want to always include your GFI, GFCI. Fuses and circuits might break. Actually, fuses and circuit breakers are overcurrent devices. When there's too much of them, the fuses will melt and the circuit breaker will trip. So in order to protect your stuff, you want to make sure of that. Power tools, they're already made by the manufacturer instructors there. The only requirement is that you use that ground plug and you plug it into something that's going to be grounded. Tool safety, always use the right tool for the job. Store it in a dry place, never use it in the wet conditions. Keep your work area well lit. Ensure that there's no tripping hazards. Don't carry your tool by the cord. Don't yank it by the cord. Keep cords away from heat and oily. Disconnect when not used, and remove damaged tools from use when you see. Preventing electrical hazards, we already went over that. Always inspect the cords and your tools before you use them. You want to make sure that they have the manufacturer marking on it that's double installated there. Let you know that it's already installated. Manufacturer marking is there. Temporary lighting, you have to use those in its original intent. So you have that little circle there. You want to hang them up off of that. You can't staple them together or anything like that. Causes a problem. Electrical current, here's a good sign here of damage to the cord. You can't put a piece of tape around that cord and expect to keep on working. You sure you have electrical tape that goes around there, but now you are outside of your manufacturer instructions and now you become responsible for that. Then again, when we talk about accidents taking place, we just want to retract the whole use of everything, and then we'll understand where we'll stop at and begin our investigation. So let me talk about that again briefly. So the cord was purchased at the Home Depot. It came into the Training Zone DMV's shop office there, went from that onto Greg's truck, and then Greg had the cord out in the field. So OSHA say that he should inspect the cord before he use it every single time. So when he inspect the cord and see that there's damage to the cord and it's outside of the manufacturer's instruction, now Greg is responsible for the cord. So where do we stop at? Whoever's using the cord is the one that's going to be responsible for that. So in order to protect ourselves for that, the cord is cheap. They're very cheap, very easy to flip out, change out. If you have size or damage or stress or stuff, bring the equipment back. Make sure that you absolutely changing your stuff out to keep you safe, to keep the accidents from injuries from appearing and keeping you on the clock every single day. You got lockout and tag out, very prevalent in different areas, not so much here in construction, but in different areas. But we will give you a quick scenario of what the lockout and tag out means. Somebody changing the motor on a conveyor belt, for instance, and they turn the electric off. So what we'll do is just put a tag on there, Earl. The shift is 7 to 3, motor change, and then lock that. Because at lunchtime, I could go to lunch, somebody could come in and say, well, why is the belt? And they hit the switch back up and keep on moving. I come back from lunch, I go touch the wires are now live, and it just the shock runs through the whole body, and death could occur in minutes behind that. So the lockout tag out scenario works in that scenario very well. All right, so you want to protect people's, always good to be precautious. Protect people by barricades, things like that. You want to plan your work. You want to keep your work area clear. Safety-related work practices. You see how the cord now that has damage on it is now touching that, and that whole machine is now arced. So instead of having it in service, you just pull it out of service. You don't have to worry about that stuff happening. This is a good one here with your lockout tag out here. You want to plan to work with others. You want to plan to avoid falls. You want to plan to lock out and tag out equipment. You don't need jewelry in the construction. You work in the construction, you don't need to have a lot of jewelry on. And also avoid your wet conditions and overhead power lines. Water always changes anything. It doesn't make a difference what it is. So you want to always want to avoid those wet conditions there. And prevent electrical hazards by using your proper foot, your head, also your hands. You want to make sure that you always provide the proper PPE to help prevent any injuries or accidents from happening to you. All right, so we're talking here using the GFI. You want to hit the button to test it to make sure that it's in a safe and working condition. Make sure that it's installed properly. Always use the third prong on your extension cord. Use extension cords only necessary to ensure that it's in a proper condition and the right type of job. And then use the right, correct, or connectors there. Training. You want to train employees on how to absolutely use the electrical cords. You'll de-energize electrical equipment before inspecting them and repairing them. Use cords, cables, and electrical tools that are in good shape. Lock out, tag out, and use the appropriate protective equipment. So you got hazards versus summaries here. Hazards versus protective measures. Real simple stuff. You got electrical wire. You need to protect yourself from it. You got exposed parts. You want to use the GFI. Real simple stuff here. And in summary here, if electrical equipment must be listed and labeled, must be free from any hazards. That means you need to inspect it before you use it. You want to use it in the proper manner. If you see any electrical tools that's not protected, protect yourself from the electrical shock and provide necessary safety equipment. So guys, that is the electricity PowerPoint. Just want to take a few minutes and recap everything that was covered today. Number one, you always got to have the GFCI, which is your ground fault circuit interrupter. It does his job by plugging it into the wall. It does its job automatically when it detects any change in the current. Now, the only way it can do its job is that you have your ground prong here, your third prong here. So anytime that you have a cord that don't have the ground prong on it, then the GFI is not able to do its job. It's a two-phase system. The GFI has a job, the ground prong has a job. Together they work to protect you. Okay? The other thing is, as of May 1st, I said again, we had a person donate some money in. So as of May 1st, on May 1st, which is coming up next week, we're going to, Tuesday of next week, we're going to make sure that everybody send their name in by way of email to us. We'll print those names out. And then Thursday, that following of that same week, we'll pull those names out at the end of the session, and the one name will go for that one person, and they'll be able to obtain that 10-hour OSHA training that will allow them to obtain that 10-hour OSHA card. It's again amazing how things happen when you're doing the right thing for the right reasons, and just want to always participate in good things, just want to give you good outcomes and apply changes in your life. I know for me, loss does not work well with me. I'm not good at loss. I spent a lot of time in the beginning days of my life just in loss. On this side of the fence today, it's always about gain, wins, and helping others. Those are the three things that always make a difference to me. If I can gain some information from it, I can win in every situation, and then I can come back and help others. That's really what makes a difference for me. You know, because everything that we do here really do make a difference. Guys, we love you. We'll be back again on Tuesday. Y'all guys have a great weekend. We'll be back on Tuesday of next week with that free training for one person. It's already happening. I am excited about it. It's already happening. Again, the number is 240-898-4050. for anybody calling in for any services. Also, if you want to send your resume in, it's hooked on safety, HOOKED on safety @mail.com. For anybody that's looking for a job, send your resume in. We're going to do our best in the month of May, start gearing up, reaching out to different companies to find out who's hiring. After we get some resumes in, we're going to try to match the resumes with the companies. We're really good at matching people with needs. It's just something that we do every summer, when the season cranks up and it gets busy. That's something that we do. We're really good at that. I would never put this together, never did it online if I didn't think that we was good at what we do. So we're really good at matching them up, and that's our only thing. Again, we are so thankful for the donation. It ain't a thing that we doing. It's just, doing the right thing and reaching out and helping the people. So next week on Tuesday, we will be accepting those emails for people. On Thursday, we will be pulling that name out of the hat, and that person will be able to obtain his 10-hour OSHA card at no cost or obligation. Thankful for the platform and thinking that somebody is out there wanting to see us make a difference. So everything that we do here really do make a difference. Thank you.